Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm looking for, son. Yeah. Today I'm going to show you how to create ambient pads in Sampler. Let's dive straight in. So what I'll do is I'll create a MIDI track, and in this MIDI track I'm going to load up a sample. Now I have a couple of these samples prepared in Roya. I have a variety of different packs that have these ambient pads, and we can choose one of the two. We can either stick with the key of major. See, the sound would be in major. Or you could stick with the key of minor. The main difference is that minor sounds rather mellow and sad, and major sounds very uplifting and happy. So I'll just load up a sound that I like. For example, Angel's Presence. I love this one, so I'll just put it into where it says drop instrument here. So what I'll do is then just right click this over here and convert this simpler to a sampler. And now I'm going to load up the keyboard monitor, max for live device, so you can see what I'm playing on my keyboard. Just put this here. Now I will record arm the track and play some notes on my MIDI keyboard. Pick a different octave. Cool. And if I play a lower octave, it will play it at a lower pitch and a lower speed. That's really fun. Awesome. Now you can see that the original pitch is D minor. So I'll make sure to set this to D as well, so that when we play the C, it actually plays a C and not the D. And if I play the D, it plays the original sample pitch. See, so if we right click show in browser, yeah, it makes it easier to mix and match different samples, and that's what we'll get to now. So if we now group this, so right click group or Command G, we can now open up the chain lists over here and drop different pads in here. So what I'll do is then go through another sound that I like, preferably in minor. This one's nice because it plays at a higher register. You can see there's a lot more high fidelity, more presence in it. So I'll just put it in here too. Right click, simpler to sampler. And since this is in B minor, we'll have to change the root to B. So just change this until we get B. There we go. So now if we play something on our keyboard, it triggers both of those samples at the same time. And since we've set the root here accordingly, it also plays the right key. So both of them are already in tune. Okay, how about we add another one just for fun? So I like this one because it's very smooth. Why not put it in here? Right click, simpler to sampler, and match the key. So this is G. We'll set the root to G. Solo. Okay, we could also put it to G2. Yeah, also works. And right now we can mix these here in this mixing panel. But before I do that, I'd like to add maybe some kind of an ambient texture or Foley sound. So I'll go into effects, strange textures. Yeah, outdoor life, just chuck this in here too. Again, right click simpler to sampler. Nice. So if I play at a lower octave, it will play all those samples at a lower octave. It's like really nice for ambient music. Yeah, I really like that. And where it gets fun is if we then start tweaking these start positions. So you can change the sample start on each and every individual sample, like this, like this. I'll keep this at the beginning here. That's no worry. That's no worry. And now what I'll do is change the sustain mode, for example, to this over here. And this enables the looper, the looping section. So this is where the sample starts at this flagpole. But according to the loop section, we can decide where it loops. I'll just make sure to hone in on a specific area over here. And now look, if I'll solo this and I'll play something on my MIDI keyboard, it then starts looping, which is very nice. You can also increase the crossfade a bit so you don't get those annoying clicks. And you can change the sustain mode to back and forth. So look, if we play something now, forward, backward, forward, backwards. So we're getting like an infinite pad loop, and that's what we're looking for these sounds. And we'll do that for every individual one of these layers here. So just hone in on the range that you'd like to choose. Change the sustain mode. Hone in on your loop here. Increase the crossfade. There you go. And you want to do that for each and every single one of these sounds over here. Sustain mode, change it, set the loop range, crossfade. And now if we play all at once, okay, something's still clicky, so I'll make sure that I'll get a lot of crossfade on these sounds here. Select maybe a different start position on these sounds. There we go. Maybe like over here. There we go. It's a lot better now. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, now we can open up the macro panel over here, macro, and map the individual volume controls to our macros. So I'll map this to macro 1, this to macro 2, right? If I right click it, I can map it. Macro 4. So the first one is Angel. Second one is, let's call this one Higher Layer. Third one is, oh yeah. And the last one is, okay, that's the ambience. So let's call this one ambience. There we go. Now if we play all together. We know which one is which, yeah? And on the ambient sample over here, I'm just going to make sure to enable the sustain mode so it always plays from the beginning. I like it when these loop up as well. Yeah, perfect. And you can also open up this macro variations panel, create new macro variations. So if you, for example, just want the ambience, you can turn all these down, create a snapshot, and now this will only trigger your ambience. So let's call this one only ambience. Whereas if you create another variation like this with less ambience, you click new, and now you have a second set of variation, no ambience. And then you can just randomize your macro maybe a couple times, your macro set. Hit new, and then rename this to I like this one. And then you can switch between them at any given point, which I really love about these macro variations. Yeah. And you can just choose your favorite pitch here, because each pitch has a different resonance. You get the point? Yeah. Each pitch vibes with you differently. Sometimes the lower register hits the heart better. Sometimes you want to play it higher. It's like angelic. Sometimes you want to go low and like really go for some Aphex Twin type vibe. Yeah. So you see I'm playing this C right now. I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which is a G. That's a perfect fifth. Or I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is also perfect fifth. I'll do that on my keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Get like very in tune results despite playing chords. And I'm kind of annoyed by the fact that when I let go of my keyboard, then it stops playing instantly, and I don't want that. In order to fix that, you go into Filter Global, and this right here is your amp section, amplitude. You can just crank up the release to like 2 seconds, right click, and then copy value to siblings. That means it copied it over to all these little samples that we have here. Now see if you let go, it still fades out. And you can set the release time to a really high amount, like 9 seconds, and then copy value to siblings. You see? And then plays it for 9 seconds. It slowly decays, you can see here. You can also increase the attack, which is very usual for pad sounds. They take a long time to swell in, and they usually release over a longer period of time as well. So just increase the attack to also maybe like, I don't know. Let's try this out. Right click, copy value to siblings, and then again, let's hit play again. Or let's play something, I mean. Let's crank that up even further, like 3 seconds or 4 seconds. Copy value to siblings. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm looking for, son. Yeah. And where it gets really fun is when you start using these modulators. And this left panel over here, you can see modulators, LFO. You can put the LFO right after all these devices outside of the group. And you can click map and map it to, for instance, your individual layers like this. You can go into multi-map mode and utilize the same LFO on the higher layer, same LFO on the oh yeah layer, and the same LFO on the ambience. And right now it's in modulator mode, which still gives me control over these individual buttons. I can still tweak them despite the LFO being there. Alternatively, I can also change it to remote, so it does everything on its own. This does not give me control over the button anymore, however. And right now it's jumping from 0 to 100. I don't usually like that. Let's crank down the range a bit so it just moves slightly different. Just test yourself out here. Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect. So you'd have slightly different numbers here, and what I usually like doing is changing the rate to a lower amount so it's very slow and steady. For pads, you usually want very slow and steady movement, and Ableton Live 12 introduced this stray and glider, which is just absolutely fantastic, these two for pads. I'm gonna keep it on stray though, so we get some subtle volume automation as well. You can tweak these parameters at any time. You can see which layer is which. It's just lovely, you know? You're getting some subtle changes in volume at the same time. I don't know if these are really audible. You can also emphasize them a bit more. Yeah, this is just like, I'm creating my own little meditation session here, which is just awesome, dude. Yeah, I don't usually like very high amounts. I know I'm getting a bit tweaky here. Getting a bit nerdy with the LFO, but yeah, just, you know, test out what you like. You don't necessarily need the LFO if it's too complicated for you, yeah? And my absolute favorite is this plugin called Love by... I don't know what they're called. Dawesome? I think Dawesome. The stock preset is called Lovely. Alternatively, if you click on this button over here, you can change the preset here. Lovely. And now what this does, it basically turns into this very spacey ambient pad. So if I then press C on my keyboard here. It's like, wow. Very spacey. Yeah. A bit too spacey even, in my opinion. Yeah, and I have a few drums prepared here, so if I hit play, let's just enable the drums and hit play. Get ideas from music, you know? I'm gonna delete the LFO for now. I feel like it's too complicated, man. Play a higher octave, maybe? Yeah. Draw a note here. Which note am I pressing? A, okay. Now just hit legato so it plays to the end. And hit play. LFO tool is what I like to use sometimes for some ducking. Dial down the depth. And you got yourself a starting point for your track. Let's consolidate this to one clip. Hit Command J and then drag this to the ends. Plays like that. Lovely. And you can of course then apply a filter to this track and make sure that it fades in over a longer period of time. Like auto filter is what I love to use. Enable automation mode and then do on your automation. On my main channel I have a high-pass filter, which creates a bit of tension by removing the bass. You can add it back in then. Yeah, maybe a longer automation might help. Okay, the drums. Lovely. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like and subscribe. And if you want these sounds, you can grab them on LotusTunes.com. As always, I will see you in the next video. Peace.